Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shaper Sessions. My name is Jake,
And I'm Russ.
and first and foremost, Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. So we've got a really exciting show for you today. We just did Masterclass live with Yuri Kobayashi, among other folks. And we did some steam bending. And during this event, Jake, everybody said that we were too chicken to steam bend live.
I had a feeling you had something in your back pocket.
They were really egging us on.
Yes, so we are, in fact, going to be bending live today, but you kind of need some special things to bend around.
You don't want to just wing it.
Oh. And they keep coming.
I'm going to take this off.
That's great. So we're going to be focusing on making steam bending fixtures with Origin today. It's kind of a killer tool for it because you want to make usually layered fixtures so that they're thicker, and creating, multiple parts that are the exact same shape is perfect for Origin.
Yeah, let's look at the overhead cam so we can show you guys what we're going to be working on today. We have two different types of fixture. Over here, we have a rock solid 180 degree U bend. We're going to show you, this is going to be the last demo in the show, but we're going to show you how to cut this with Origin and how to design this in studio. We also have this pegboard over here for more freehand, free-form style bending. So we're going to be bending around these circular shapes. You can place them anywhere on the pegboard. And we're going to show you, well, the circles are pretty straightforward. I think we can skip that in studio, but we will show you how to make a nice big pattern quickly in studio for this style of pegboard and give you some dimensions to work with.
Nice. And if you do hear what sounds like a kettle boiling in the background, it is in fact our steam box right over here.
It's our spooky steam box. Yeah, is it hot in here?
It's actually kind of warm. All right. We always like to, a couple of rules. This is a live show, everyone, so please take the opportunity to get your questions in. We have Ted in the chat. He's going to be taking all those good, juicy questions and saving them for us at the end, where we will answer them live.
We've got a giveaway at the end of the show. To enter the giveaway, there's going to be a poll question that pops up halfway into the show or so when we do our little mid-show break to our shop tour and all of that. And have fun. Have fun? Yeah. Is that the other rule? I feel like I'm missing one for some reason today.
No, I think that's it.
Rules make it sound so serious. We just want you all to just ask questions and have fun and talk with each other in the chat and hopefully learn something.
Yep. All right, let's start off by making a little sawdust. I'm just going to cut a couple of these circles using this, one of my favorite, the 5mm O-flute bit. I'm going to do this in 2 depth passes and 1 finish pass.
Okay,
all
great.
Right.
Yeah, we like to, just start the show with a little cut to give everybody some time to roll in. We're not getting too into the details on this. We're cutting just plywood today, so all the settings are going to be the same throughout the whole show. Yeah. You do have a part that we're going to test fit here. It's this PVC that needs to fit inside these circles, goes in the circles, and goes in the pegboard. And we want a nice snug fit on that. Okay?
Cool.
I think you've got this all queued up here already.
Let's do it.
So, like we mentioned at the top of the show, we will be cutting 3 different parts today. We're going to be cutting a couple of these circles out. We use these circles in conjunction with the pegboard. After I show you all how to design a pegboard like this in studio, we'll go ahead and cut a couple of circles from that as well. And the thing that we really want to communicate on that is the difference between bit sizes. We're going to start with a 1/4-inch router bit. And with that 1/4-inch router bit, helix mode is not going to be available because that router bit's too small to fit that entire cut inside of Origin's corrective range. If all those words sound like mumbo jumbo to you, it will make more sense when we do this demo and talk through it. We're going to try it with the 1/4-inch bit and then replace that with the 16mm bit that's going to allow us to cut those holes in just one nice, easy helix pass. So we've got the circles, we've got some pegboard cuts that we're going to do, and I'm going to show you how to design that pegboard in studio. And then we're going to go after the break to cut this U-shaped form. We will also design that in studio before we cut it. That's kind of a fun one. We're going to be using Shapeshifter to get this positive and negative U shape or rainbow shape so that you can clamp to it super easily. And then, last but not least, we have some bending to do. So we're going to be bending some 1/4-inch stock around these circles, and we're going to be bending some bigger stock around the U-form. As Jake is cruising around here, he's using auto pass. Auto pass is stepping him down so that he can cut this whole circle without having to mess with his settings. But when we get to the next cuts for the pegboard and the U-shaped form, we're going to go through all those settings in plenty of detail. Just like showing you guys how Origin works to start with. Jake's just following that dotted line, and as long as he follows that dotted line, Origin's going to keep him on track for this perfect circular shape. What do you think about that? Okay. And I heard that there might be a little bit of trouble for people logging on today, so we're going to take a step back for a second and explain again what we're doing.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that we're all in the clear. But what did we just cut?
We just cut a circle with a really precise hole in it that fits this PVC pipe perfectly. Talking friction fit. So we want to be able to get it on and off, but we don't want any, wiggling movement. And that was perfect. 0 offset.
Okay. I like that. Cool. And like Jake mentioned, we want these fixtures to be thicker than the bending stock that we have. So our bending stock is 1 1/4 inches tall. We've got 2 3/4-inch pieces of ply here stacked up. So because ply is usually a little thin, they're going to be a little under 1.5 inches, but they're definitely going to be more than 1 1/4 inches.
Yeah.
So this is exactly what you want. So when you do this at home, you're going to want to cut out a bunch of these circles. The more you have, we only have probably 10 or so out right now, 10 or 12. But the more you have of different sizes, the more flexible you're going to be when it comes to using this pegboard and kind of doing these things freehand, the more access to different shapes you'll have.
Yeah.
Okay, so to review again, we're doing this pegboard. This is how we orient things for steam bending. Let's show this one more time on the overhead cam for people who just joined in. We're cutting 2 steam bending fixtures today, this U-shaped form and the pegboard. I think now we can go ahead and design this pegboard in studio before we cut out some circles.
Yeah, and this is something you can apply to anytime you want to create a repeating pattern, just like this.
Yeah. So let's look at this. And in studio here, we've got our blank canvas. 2 important dimensions on this. The circles you want to be 1 inch and 1/16 in diameter. So I'm going to go ahead and make a circle. We're going to call that 1 and 1/16. Okay, that's great. And we want these circles to be spaced at 2.5 inch intervals. What's the easiest way to do that? I think using snap to grid is the easiest way. So we can set this grid to whatever interval we want. We could set it to 1 1/4. We could set it to 2.5, which is what we want for this. We can turn that grid on so you can see we're going to go ahead and make a bunch of circles and snap these to those grid points. Let's see if I drag this around, those buttons come up for snapping. Let's go ahead and type that in. Perfect. Now, okay, duplicating these quickly. If I want to make a big pattern, the best way to do that is to pick one shape. You can hit Control D or Command D if you're on Mac to copy that shape, and then drag that over until it snaps. Now what I'm going to do is do this one more time, Command D, until I have 3 in a row, and these are all snapped in a line together. And I'm going to take this group of 3 and duplicate this now. And the reason that I'm duplicating a group of 3 is because it's easiest to snap to a center point of something symmetric for me. That's what I really like to do. So to select all, I can hit Control A, select all, Control D to duplicate, and then I can take these and bring them up there. And see how that center point just snapped to the grid there? I can do that again, Control D, bring that up, snapping to the center point. I've got an even bigger set here. I can Control A again, Control D, bring this up. Again, we're snapping to that center point. The zoom to selection is really handy. Zoom to fit, nice like that. See, this center snapping is doing all the work for me. Let me just pan over a little bit here. If you want to select a subset, what I'm doing is clicking and holding and then moving that cursor. So you can select just a subset instead of that Control A. Again, duplicating, bringing this over. And again, duplicating and bringing this over. That's a pretty nice grid. What do you think there, Jake?
Perfect.
Okay. Now, if we were making this out of a big sheet of ply, we would want a bounding box on this, the outside edge of our ply board. So we can make that with a rounded rectangle. These are 2.5 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we can do here 2.5 times 12. We can do some math in that calculator for the width. And in height, 2.5 times 6. And let's put a 1-inch radius on this, just to round that off a little bit. Now, here's something that's about to not work the way that I expect it to. I want this to snap to the middle here, but it doesn't do it because we've got all of these independent shapes right here. So let me just drag this off to the side here and show you all how I make this snap to the middle of this big group of circles. I'm going to select all of them and then shape shift them into one contiguous shape. Even though they look like they're separate parts, this is going to make them one shape in Studio's brain. So let's make shape here. Okay. And now I can take this rectangle, and with that snapping, it's going to smartly snap just to the center of that pegboard.
That was a great trick.
It's a pretty good trick.
Yeah.
The other thing that's cool about this is when I go into plan mode, when I select, well, what I thought would happen was when I selected one of these, it would make it an inside cut. But it looks to not be doing that. Let's go in here, select all. Let's make these all an inside cut. And we just want this outside edge to be an outside cut. Again, we can select all and plan these to a depth of 3/4 of an inch. If we look at this in review mode, you can see we've got inside cuts on all of these. Jake's just going to clear out a couple of those, and then we have our outside cut for the pegboard. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
So
simple but powerful.
Simple but powerful. We're going to pop this over to the tool. I mean, it syncs automatically. So Jake's going to pull this up. I think we still need to import this design, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, walk me through what you're doing over here.
All right, there's our pegboard.
And it looks like you have a grid on this, is that right?
I do.
Okay, so that grid is off of this lower left-hand corner over here?
I use lower right.
Lower right.
Drag and drop to 0, 0.
You will notice that this is over top of that circle that we cut out, but we're not cutting the whole pegboard today. We're just going to cut a few circles to show you the difference between cutting this with a smaller router bit and cutting it with a bigger router bit and how much time you'll save.
Yeah, I'll focus on these ones over here. Okay, so I have a 1/4 inch bit, the standard bit that comes with Origin. Now, just because you're just rocking the stock bits doesn't mean it's going to stop you from being able to do this kind of thing. It's just going to take a couple of extra passes. So, with auto pass on, going down to 3/4 of an inch depth, and 3 depth passes and 1 finish pass. Okay, and then we're going to time that and compare it to using Helix.
Okay, so I should get out my stopwatch.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, done.
All right, I'm going to do 2 of these as fast as I can.
Okay, let me give you a 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
Let me actually get my stopwatch. Hold on just a second. I'm going to pop off to the side here. I didn't realize we were racing, but let's do it. Let's go, everybody.
Racing with myself.
Okay. You know, somebody somebody asked us during Masterclass Live which one of us is faster.
Ooh.
Shots fired. All right, I got my stopwatch, Jake. I'm ready to go. Are you ready to go? I'm going to give you the countdown. Give me the thumbs up when you're ready, and I'll give you the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so this is Jake using auto pass here to cut down these pegboard holes, and you'll notice that he needs to move origin both quickly and accurately to get these going as fast as possible. And the moving quickly and accurately at the same time is the hard part. You can move quickly, but you don't want to be throwing the tool around too much, despite that auto correction. Now you'll see that when he goes to helix mode, what's going to be really cool about this is that Jake's going to be able to hold origin just in one place to cut these, and so should be faster. Okay, that's 2.
That's 2.
I got 45 seconds on that.
All right.
And you had to clear out those little plugs.
I tell you what, that's what happened to me when I was cutting this circle over here. This little plug actually got in the way of Origin's movement and made me retract. So watch out for these little things.
So watch out for those little plugs.
Yeah, or they get stuck in your vacuum and then you have poor dust collection.
That is really nasty. Yeah, if they're just the right size, they'll get jammed up in there.
All right, so 45 seconds.
45 seconds.
I feel like I was jamming too.
Yeah, you were moving really fast. I think we might not save that much time on this, but I think you're going to feel a lot more confident.
And just relaxed, I think.
Confident and relaxed.
Yeah.
That's the way to be.
Because, when you're doing those small motions with origin, what you really want to do is you want to be planted. Your arms are planted, the sides of your hands. I'm just driving origin with my fingers, essentially. For this, I won't have to move at all.
Beautiful. Okay, so you've got the 16-bit in there in your spare spindle.
Yes.
Pretty easy to attach there. We're just going to change the bit diameter and automatically Z-touch on that to zero out that bit. Now, before we start this, walk me through the speeds that you used for the last cut and the speeds that you're about to use for the second cut.
So I was running the default speeds as far as plunge and auto.
Are you going to speed those up at all for this helix cut?
I think I am. Yeah,
okay.
I'm going to bump up. Now my spindle speed, I'm going to keep that at a 5. I'm going to turn auto pass off, but helix on.
And if you go into speeds, what are we going to set those at?
We're going to bump the auto. Actually, it's at 15. I kind of want to see what that feels like.
We're going to do 1, and then we're going to bump it up.
You know what? Let's just go.
I want to see how fast we can go.
20.
20?
You can see this is right on the cusp of fitting inside that corrective range. But it's going to fit.
Okay, great. I'm going to time you. You want me to time you again?
Yeah.
We have to do it. We're already committed.
All right, you ready?
Yep. Okay, let me know when you're ready, and I'll give you the countdown. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Hey, not bad.
35 seconds.
27.
Ooh.
Were you counting in your head?
No, but that felt great.
Yeah.
And
you looked a lot more comfortable also. You didn't look like you were rushing so much.
Yeah. And it came out with no little plug. It just basically takes all that material out. There you go.
You happy with that?
So if you're doing a whole tabletop like this, it pays to kind of dial in your process.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's more efficient for you.
Yeah. You might even want to find a bigger router bit
You might.
so that you're not right on the edge of that helix.
Yeah, you can go all the way up to an inch.
We should start selling an inch router bit. I'm going to put the request into the people in charge for that one.
All right, cool.
Feel pretty good about that?
I feel great about that.
Okay. I think we said that before we go into the break, we're going to try to steam bend something with this process.
Yes.
It makes me really nervous because we are actually winging it. Neither of us has done this before. No, you've done this before.
Steam bending?
Yeah, steam bending. You used to do this for your job. But that was like years ago.
Years ago, and you just spent all weekend doing it.
Yeah, but I didn't actually do it.
Oh,
I just loaded the steam box. I just loaded the steam box and made sure the boilers were running. Okay, so we're going to see, fingers crossed, I'm not that religious, but when you're steam bending, you might become.
Yeah.
All right, everybody needs gloves for this. So, like I said, we've got two different processes here. We've got the thin strips that we're going to try to bend around these circles, and we don't need the clamps for this. We just need these wedges that I've got over here and a hammer. I think this is just a one-person thing, maybe even.
Well, I'm just here at the ready.
Just for support. I love that. Okay.
Feel like I need to be gloved up.
Yeah, okay. So let's think about this a little bit. I think I'm going to go around some of these. I can pull these out so that I've got some breathing room. Jake, why don't you hand me these in order? 1, 2, when I need them. Okay. We're going to give this one shot, and if it doesn't work, then we're just chalking it up to experience. Ready for this?
Let's do it.
Okay. Watch out. Steam. If you're doing this at home, wear long sleeves. All right, here we go. Which one do I want? I think I'll go with this one. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that overhead cam for this.
Oh, man, it just is butter.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, we should really move these over some. Jake, can you move this one over too? Yeah, thanks. So what I'm doing first here is just loosening the wood up a little.
What would you say your working time is here?
I don't know, till it cools down. Maybe 3 minutes, 3 to 5. I think the better you get at this, the longer your working time becomes. All right, we need 2 wedges for this one. All right, circle.
All right.
This is going pretty well.
So far, so good.
So far. Oh, I can feel it starting to stiffen up. All right, circle. Circle. Oh, I just broke it. All right, we'll wedge it here. Pretty good. You guys can see it broke right here. Went a little too far with it. It's pretty good, though.
That's a nice wiggle.
I'm happy with that for the first time. I like this. Cool. All right, that's fun. So now, it is hot in here.
How long does that need to stay like that?
Probably a couple of days.
Yeah?
Yeah, until it's completely dry. And one thing that you could do that we learned at Masterclass Live last weekend is that you can leave this here just for a little while until it starts to set. Like it's already cooling down. Like I can touch it with my bare hands, right? But it's still a little damp. You would want to hold this in place somehow, and zip ties could do that. Another form like this off to the side could do that. When you're doing these free-form things, even just like some string or some tape could even hold it in place. We also have these little spring clamps. If you were to bend something back against itself such that it kind of touches in places, you could use these little spring clamps to hold it. With this, it's going to have a lot more spring back. So when we get to that point, we could talk about some things that you could do to hold that in place for a few days more permanently while it dries. Yeah. Whew.
That
What
was
a load
exciting.
off. Yeah, that was exciting.
And it only gets more exciting the thicker you get with with the wood.
Yeah, I'm looking off stage here. Buddy Sean is here filling up the steam generators for us. So thank you, Sean, for that. I think it's time for our mid-show break. What
Let's
do you say, Jake?
Do it. We'll bring that poll question up. The question of the day is, if we were to do like a 2-day origin-only boot camp here in our HQ in San Francisco, would you be interested?
Would you be interested? It would probably be 10 people. It might be the same price or a little bit more compared to Masterclass Live that we just did, which was $500 for reference. And compared to Masterclass Live, this would be Origin only. So a big perk of Masterclass Live is you get those Friday Origin classes, Shaper System, and then Saturday you have these classes where you learn steam bending, or you learn veneering with Adrian, or you learn joinery with Phil, right? And this, in contrast, would be Origin only. So would you be in? Let us know. So, and let's go ahead and recap also just what we're working on here, because this is related to Masterclass Live, right? What is Masterclass Live? It's the event where we bring in some instructors from all around the country. These were from the Center for Furniture Craftsmanship in Maine to teach 3 different topics. One was, again, veneering with Adrian Ferrazzuti. Second, joinery with Phil Morley, and third, steam bending with Yuri Kobayashi, which we're kind of recapping here today. And we are walking through the different fixtures that you could build with Origin for steam bending. So we just saw these circle cutouts that Jake did, and then also this pegboard cutout that Jake did. If you missed that, I think a couple people just joined. If you missed that, then definitely go back and watch the replay of this, or you can see it on YouTube later. And then after we, do our announcements and do our shop tour, we're going to show how we build and design in studio this big 180-degree U-shaped form for steam bending.
Start getting into chair back territory. That's what I see when I see this thing.
Absolutely. So, okay. And speaking of Masterclass Live, I'm going to bring the computer back before we get away from this too far. Let's go ahead and show some photos. How do I, let's see, F11. That's full screen. There we go. So these are some photos from our weekend here at Shaper HQ in San Francisco. You can see, look at the steam bending on this. That's just so much fun. This is completely freehand, a spiral. Again, we've got that veneering class with Adrian Ferrazzuti. I've got a better photo in here later of the part that people were actually making, which was a really cool geometric kind of window shape. Joinery with Phil Morley, and here he is giving a lesson on some of his favorite edge treatments, those thumbnail shapes, hand cut. Here's that veneering lesson with Adrian, and the lineup on this is just absolutely incredible. I learned so much just being in the same room. I didn't even do these demos. Just being in the same room, you absorb so much.
Yeah.
Steam bending, we're not going to go this big, but we steam bent some pieces with this big metal strap, a 1-inch thick piece of elm. We're working with elm today, by the way, Yuri's recommendation. Good on the West Coast. On the East Coast, you could get maybe sycamore, beech, ash, she really recommends.
Goes to show that's really a team job, team effort, sometimes when you're going big.
100%. Learned a ton, and Yuri is old school, which I love. So look at those posters that she brought. We're not even in slideshow mode for this. This is just knowledge straight from her brain. And yeah, everybody had a good time, I think is what this picture just says. Yeah. It was great.
Got a lot of Origin time too.
Back from Phil's class doing some joinery for his shop stool. So that's what we got in terms of recap and photos. It was a ton of fun, and we would love to see you at the next one. I think we'll do one. We'll definitely do another one next year. TBD whether it's in the spring or the fall, but stay tuned.
Nice.
Should we show a shop tour?
Yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't like, should we show it or not show it? It was like, should we show it now?
Yeah. Greg sent us a shop tour this week, and Greg, I want to also thank you for coming out for Masterclass Live. It's great to see you. And I hear there's some adorable things in this video, so I'm excited.
Okay, let's play the tape.
Hi, I'm Greg Stafford, and I would like to show you my wood shop. We're located in Central California, just east of Fresno, out in the country, on an equestrian ranch. So as you can see, we've got horses here. Here's a riding arena. My wife teaches horseback riding lessons. And then we have a look at the Sierras. In the wintertime, the high Sierras are just right there. And when the snow is just absolutely beautiful in the winter. Unfortunately, the visibility is not all that great today. I've been a hobbyist woodworker almost 35 years, maybe pushing 40. And now we're coming into my workshop here where we've got horses over here. Here we've got an alpaca, a miniature donkey, and a miniature horse. And his name is Bootjack. So now let's go into my shop. So I won't bore you with more horses, but go out that door. We have about another 8 horses out there. So here's the door to my shop. Sure you guys recognize that picture. This name of my wood shop is Wouldn't It Be Nice? The name of our acreage is Acorn Acres. Now let's go into the shop. So here's a quick view of the shop. Of course, you have to have the TV. Most what I play here are YouTube videos of woodworking videos. And of course, I watch the Shaper sessions on there as well. And here's my name badge I like to show you for the first woodworking Masterclass last year. It was an absolutely amazing class. If you ever get an opportunity to go one, you absolutely need to do it. You see, I got a French cleat wall system throughout my shop. These were actually the backboards that go into a store that you use the metal clips. I had to use a saw to cut 45 degrees and to make them for a French cleat system. And so now all my walls have a French cleat system. As you can see, I like DeWalt tools. So here's my miter saw station and my wood storage. No matter how hard I try, I cannot keep wood organized. I do not know how to throw away wood, so it's always a mess. Here's the RBI Hawk scroll saw. That's probably 35 years old or more. Still works like a charm. I don't even think they make them anymore. Here's my woodpecker routing station. Then of course all my other tools, everything is on rollers and attached to a vacuum system so I can pull them out as I need. This empty space here, my joiner just died, so I just ordered a Powermatic helical 6-inch joiner. It's due to come in on Wednesday, so I can't wait for that to come in. Here's my miniature lathe. In the mid-'80s, my wife and I used to do the craft show system, and that was when the wooden pin market just started to happen. And we got into that, and we made thousands and thousands of wooden pins. These pins here are probably 25 years old, just in a storage box that are in my closet. I pulled them out to show you in this. But spent many, many hours at craft shows turning wooden pins. Here's my dust collection system. Now let's go over here. I have the saw stop table saw. And then this shaper probably needs to go to the garbage. It's so old, I'm afraid to even use it. It's just taking up space. Here's my drill press, drum sander, my lathe, and that's on rollers so I can pull it out as I need it. And this is called a legacy machine. You put a router on top of that and you can mill wood and turn it into do spiral work and do all sorts of fun things with that. It's really a cool system. And then of course, here's my shaper station. So I got it here. And then if I have a big piece of lumber that I'm putting through the table saw, I have it on a hinge and I can drop that down so I can mill big pieces of wood. But this is where I spend a lot of my time playing on the origin. So I have one more thing to show you. So so let me end the video with this. This is the other part. We've got a little miniature pig and his favorite friend, his duck friend that they never apart. And then we've got 2 miniature goats back there. And then what every wood shop needs is a Scottish Highland miniature cow. This is Chewy, and he's just like a big dog. You scratch him, he'll be your best friend. So I want to thank you for letting me to show you my wood shop. If you're ever out in the Fresno area, please stop by and say hi. Thanks.
I need a mini cow
Jake,
now.
why don't we have a cow? That's pretty good. Thank you so much, Greg, for sharing that with us. And it was really great to meet you last weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we move on, just want to recap a little bit because we heard that we had some issues with our site today, and we want to apologize for that. So for anybody who joined a little later than usual, here's what we're working on today. We are steam bending and building fixtures with Origin.
Yep.
You missed all of my chicken jokes, unfortunately. I had a chicken hat and everything. I was making some great puns. But if you want to go back and see that, you can recap the show on YouTube. We'll be hosting the replay of this after the fact. If we look at this on the overhead camera, here's what we're working on. We've got this big U-shaped 180-degree bending fixture that we're about to design in studio and cut here with Origin. And then at the beginning of the show, the first thing we did was we cut a couple of these circular pegs for this pegboard steam bending setup, and a couple of holes from the pegboard. And we showed you the difference between cutting these holes with a 1/4-inch router bit, where you have to use autopass to get down to the depth and follow along that track, versus cutting that with a 16mm router bit, which allows you to actually helix these holes, which is a lot faster. We put Jake through a little timed test there, and he passed. It was what we thought it was going to be. The helix holes were indeed faster.
Yeah.
By about what was it, like 15 seconds, 20 seconds for 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, which adds up when you're doing like, I don't know, this is like 200 holes.
Yeah.
Something like that. A lot.
Nice.
Okay.
Good recap. Okay. We're going to make this part in studio now.
We are going to make this part in studio now. You know what I did forget to mention, Jake?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
It just came back
To
me
bring
too.
it back. This is announcement style. We're looking for shaper projects
Yeah.
to share for our shows during December. You know, we do the shop tour thing. We would love to keep receiving shop tours. Send those to us. sessions@shapertools.com. But at the end of the year, we would love to do an Origin project recap. And we'll send you something nice for sending in your project to us. Yeah. It can just be some photos with some text. We got a video, which was really nice. If it's going to be a video, keep it really short, like 30 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
But some photos with some text is great. We would love to see that. Thank you in advance. Okay, I think now we can do this in studio.
Let's do it.
We're doing this U-shaped form. Let's look at this on the overhead camera so we can kind of think through this like physically before we do it on the computer. We have 2 circular segments, 2 rectangular segments, and then 2 holes in it. What are the dimensions on this? This is a 7.5-inch radius on this big circular segment. It's a 3.5-inch radius on this smaller circular segment. That means that each of these is 4 inches wide, and we've got about 8 inches of tail on each of these straight ends, so 8 inches long there. I think we're ready to go ahead and build this.
Let's do it.
Okay. So this is going to be all simple shapes and shapeshifter. The first thing I want to do is go ahead and make those circular segments. We're going to do this with circle. Diameter is going to be 2 times that radius, so a 15-inch diameter on the big one. Zoom to selection. Let's make sure this is snapped. That's great. And then let's do this again. Circle, 0, 0. That's great. And then that's going to be a 7-inch diameter. That's 3.5 times 2. Perfect. Let's go ahead and just make this arc shape first. So to do that, I am going to just cut this bottom off with a rectangle. Let's make this nice and wide, 16 inches wide. And we can go ahead and snap that right there. I'm just trying to get this arc shape from the top. We can hit Control A to select all, shape shift, and this is what I want to keep. We don't have to keep existing shapes. We want to get rid of them. All we want is this shape. Beautiful. Now let's make those rectangular tails. We want this to be 4 inches wide and 8 inches tall. And this should snap right there. That looks great. We could even go ahead and duplicate this. Remember to do that, that's Control D, and then just drag this over till it snaps to the other side. Control A selects everything. We can shape shift this together, make that a shape. Uh-oh. We got a little misalignment here. That's okay. We can, it's connected at the end. Do a little Control Z. Make a new rectangle here. Let's do 4 by 8. And let's just bump this up a little bit so that we're sure that that all overlaps. Shape shift. 1, 2, 3. Make that shape. Oh, I forgot to select the little bit in the middle. Okay. Control Z that again. Control A. Shape shift. 1, 2. Here we go. This is what we need. A little bit of overlap there. Make that shape. There is
Nice.
our arc. If those shapes are not playing well together, like they were for me, let's start again and show you guys how to do this a different way. We're going to do this with rounded rectangles. We can go ahead and make a rounded rectangle. Let's make this 15 inches wide and 15 inches, that's our circular dimension, plus our 8 inches tall, and we'll give the ends a 7.5 inch radius. We're going to position this at 0, 0. I think that's what I missed. I think I missed 0, 0 on one of those circles. A little embarrassing, but learn from my mistakes. Let's make another rounded rectangle. We're going to make this one 7 inches wide because it's got that 3.5 inch radius. We're going to make it 7 inches tall plus that 8 inch tail. We're going to make that radius 3.5 inches. And let's place this at 0, 0. Okay. And now let's make a rectangle to kind of cut off this bottom bit of the circle here. So we're going to make this rectangle 16 inches wide just to make sure that that overlaps plenty. Let's make it 16 inches tall. Let's place the top of this, okay, at x equals 0. Y equals -4, because remember these shapes are centered and we've got an 8 inch straight section in the middle, so half of that is 4 inches to the top of this. Okay, this is going to be nice and clean. We can Control A to select everything, shape shift, and there's that arc.
Awesome. Just like using cookie cutters.
Yeah, just like using cookie cutters. I like that. Let's name this. I must not have named it. So let's call this 180-degree form. There we go. And the last thing that we need is these circles. So we're going to make these 2 inches in diameter.
These are just for clamps, yeah?
These are just for clamps. Yep. And we'll place this at -5.5 inches, I think is centered, because the outside of this is 7.5 and the inside of this is 3.5. So centered there is -5.5. And this from the center line here to the bottom is 4 inches. Let's make this -2. That puts that right there. Duplicate, duplicate this is Control D. X plus 5.5, Y -2. There, that's our shape. Plan mode. Let's make sure that this is an outside cut, so we're cutting to the outside of that line. 3/4 inch depth. And then on these guys, we want these to be inside cuts, and then also 3/4 inch depth. Looks right to me. Look right
Beautiful.
to you?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that automatically synced up over here. I'm just going to cut this all out of the same piece of ply. There it is. Okay.
Enough room there? Yeah,
Let's
that
see.
looks good.
Yes.
So this is our
enough room.
file from earlier, so I had not actually updated the cut paths on that. You want that to be the outside cut?
And we'll cut the inside of these.
Yep.
All right. I went back to that 5mm O flute cutter.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna do this in 3 passes.
2 roughing passes and 1 finish pass, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna look out for those pesky pucks that will come out and cut loose once I finish this cut.
You want me to time you on this one? No.
I'm gonna try to book it.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
So this 5mm bit is our favorite for cutting sheet goods. When we're cutting MDF, we'll use it in just 1 pass, all the way down to 3/4 of an inch thick. But this is nice, dense Baltic birch. So we are taking this in 2 roughing passes and then 1 finishing pass. So you can see Jake using auto pass here. He's ramping down and then now just taking the last little bit off of this circle with his finishing pass. That's that ramp area right there, that lighter blue color. So now you can see Jake's on pass 2 of 2. This is that full depth. And then as he comes around to the end here, watch his origin brings that right out to that finishing pass dimension. That's going to bring your cut right up against that template line. That lets us cut deeper passes on that roughing pass. And then the finishing pass is going to come clean up any little inconsistencies that you might have. Now for a little bit of recap on Origin itself, all Jake's doing here is keeping that dot that's floating around inside the circle somewhere inside that circle, and for best results, maybe preferably in the center of the crosshairs. Not best results in that it's going to be more accurate. Origin's kind of equally accurate anywhere you float that point. But for best results, meaning Jake is less likely to leave that corrective range and retract as long as that dot is in the center of the crosshairs. It's also the easiest way to think about aiming the tool. If you keep the crosshairs over the dot while you're moving it around that line, that's kind of what you're aiming for. It's the easiest way to think about it if you're just getting started. Love to hear from the chat if anybody has bought their Origin recently and is just getting started, and if so, what projects you're getting started with. We're always interested in seeing what people are working on and seeing if there's any way that we can help them figure out ways to work better. You'll notice that if we look at the side angle, that Jake is working pretty close toward the top of the piece of plywood by the time he gets the spindle up above that second point in the arc. When we get back to there, we'll show this again, but we've got 2 rows of tape right at the very edge of our piece of plywood. That's so that Origin has at least 5 domino markers to see when Jake is at that highest point of the arc. If we take a look at the tape health meter on Origin's screen, you can see that it's kind of flickering between completely full and 3/4, and that's completely fine, that's normal. But if that tape meter were to drop down into the red, that would mean that we would certainly want to add more tape to our workspace. That tape is how Origin sees what it's doing, and so without it, you are going to have less than ideal cut results, but you can always add to the tape that you have on your workpiece with what we call add to scan. If you've encountered this in your work and are curious about add to scan, check out our session on Origin Pro Tips. We did that one about a year ago. All of it is still relevant and accurate. So go ahead and check that out at shapertools.com/sessions. Those are searchable now. That's a fun thing. So you can search our sessions for any topics that you might want to see. You could check out dovetails. You could check out box joints. Definitely also check out that Origin Pro Tips. Coming up on the end here. What do you think, Jake? Feeling good?
Good.
That's pretty crisp.
Bam.
So the comparison there is like, how long would that have taken you to program that on a CNC machine and set up a big beast like that to cut
I
just
would
some
have been
arcs?
steam bended by the time you were done.
Yeah, setting this stuff up with Origin is really fast and easy. There's no like toolpath programming or anything like that. We just made the shape and cut out the shape with a router. Here it is.
Yeah. I actually did that in 2 passes just for time's sake too.
You did a roughing pass and then you did a combo roughing finishing pass.
Yeah. And it felt good.
I feel like we need a whiteboard in here. We should draw that for folks.
Yeah.
Can you explain what you mean by like a combo roughing finishing pass?
So my first pass had a roughing offset of like 0.02. And that was half depth of the plywood, so about 3/8. And then the second pass, instead of doing another depth with a roughing pass, I went full depth to the finish, and it felt very secure. It felt very, I wouldn't do that on like a fine piece of furniture, but we're talking jigs and fixtures. It's usually okay.
You were confident that that finishing quality that you would get, even if you were cutting 3/8 of an inch deep, was going to give you good results.
Yeah, exactly.
And it looks really good. So let's go ahead and unclamp this. I realized that we haven't unclamped this piece of elm from our bending fixture from earlier. And we can hold that piece that we just made up to this one. I think the holes might be in slightly different places, to be honest, but they're just for clamps, so it doesn't matter that much. It's more about the dimensional accuracy of the form here. Yeah, those holes are way bigger and in a different place, but you can see that arc is just absolutely perfect.
Sweet.
Good stuff. Okay, so this is what we're trying to do. This is an inch thick piece of wood, and to do this would require a bending strap, which we don't have, but we have some 1/2 inch pieces. So we're going to try it.
It's just so cool. It just wants to be this shape now.
It does. It's stuck. Gloves for you.
Thank you.
We've got a load of clamps. Here's some clamps. What happened to the rest of the clamps? There they are. You've got them
over here.
Okay, so we can take this stuff apart now also. And you can see that this is wanting to spring back, but that's okay. We don't need to keep it forever. We can always make more. I actually might make another one of these after. But you can see how it's holding its shape. Like, look at that. If we wanted to really keep this, we could just tie it back like this. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
This can just go behind me for now. We don't need these wedges. All this stuff's going to go over here because we need a lot of area clearance for this piece of wood also. Okay, so the way this is going to work, I'll bring out the elm. You're going to clamp it here and here. And then as we work around, I think we could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clamps on the arc. And then 2 more down here. What do you think?
I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm nervous. I don't know why.
Yeah, me too. The first one went well enough. I think we can ride on the reputation of that first bend at this point. If they both went poorly, then I'd have something to complain about. Okay. Gloves on. How do you feel?
A little hungry.
Okay. All right, you ready? Let's see. I think we want. Let's try this one. Oh, this one. I don't like that.
Not that.
Not that one. Take it back. Let's try this one. Okay, 2 clamps. Hey, I think we might make it. You think we're gonna make it, Jake?
I think we're gonna
I
make
think
it.
we're gonna make it.
I just realized that neither of us was saying
We're
anything.
not saying anything.
Totally focused. Oh, my
Oh yeah.
goodness.
Look at that. That's a good bend. Woo! Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that high five moment on camera.
Nice.
Good camera work. We got Ian on the switchboard today. Thank you. Wow. Holy smokes. Thanks, everybody, for hanging on for dear life with that one. I think it wasn't as bad as I was making it out to be in my head.
No.
No, it was
No.
fine. It was fine all along.
You know what's fun now, too?
What?
We can chuck this up in a workstation and cut tenons.
Yeah,
We actually turn this into a little seat back or something.
yeah. Do it. Or like a handle for your toolbox.
Hey, that's
Your really big toolbox.
yeah.
Yeah, my brain is spinning. You can make a picnic basket. I'm going to just let this go because I could come up with ideas forever.
Thank you for being here to watch it. Happy Halloween, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.